Hey everyone, so I wanted to make a quick video today about my predictions on where the housing market is going. So there's a lot of analysts that believe in 5 years, because it takes so long for the housing market to catch up to like the stock market. For example, let's say the stock market drops by 40%. And then it rebounds by 20, and then next year by 10, and then next year by 15. It's taken 4 years for you to be up 5%, right? And although the stock market can be very volatile, the real estate market is very, very much emotional. And what that means is that a lot of people are attached to their homes. When they bought it, they were in love with it, and therefore they believe that it is worth whatever their neighbors may have been able to sell it for, or what they believed it would be worth 10, 5, or even 3 years from now. So we have a lot of people who are holding on again to that buying power, right? We talked about people being prisoners of their mortgage rate, but also, even if you want to leave, you're holding on to that buying power. Some people may even be forced to try out new ideas, such as renting out their home in order to purchase another one, right? And so there's a lot of basically moving parts involved with the market as it is now. And we know that housing prices will not drop drastically. In fact, a lot of people are going to list over the price that they should. They're going to drop it down ever so slightly, 5K, 10K per month, or even every 2 months or so, until they finally get stuck at their price point that they believe they are not going to budge from. Once they hit that price point, what I've seen personally is houses being taken off of the listing site and then re-added maybe a month later so that it shows as new. But this time it's going to list at the lowest price that they had listed it for prior to taking it off the market. What I see when I see that is a seller who wanted to sell at that price point, couldn't sell at that price point, and although they were angry and frustrated and probably believed that it was worth more, they relisted it again at the same price point, and this time they're going to hold, and hopefully they find a new buyer with the tagline of it being a new listing on the market, although it was actually very old. The reason I know that a lot of these houses are old listings that are just being re-added to the market is because I am an investor and I really do my due diligence. So I put comments on certain homes, especially on Redfin. I'll put a comment on it about the price drop, what it dropped to, what I would personally buy it for. And then when it gets taken off and then re-added on, I am the first one notified, and I can see my previous and old comments that I had attached to the file. And so I can see that this house is now listed at the same price that it was off market for just last month. But it's showing up as new, even though it was on the market for at least 2 months prior to be taken off. And I just saw that today on certain homes. And a lot of homes, even in my area, one of the most big and most beautiful homes is on market for $289, and it hasn't sold. It's big, bigger than mine, more beautiful, everything. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, nice backyard, fireplace, and everything for $289. Can you imagine if that was at 3% interest rates? It would have been gone. I mean, like in an instant, it would have been taken off the market. But in this market where interest rates are creeping over 7% now, that is a very expensive home for a lot of people, especially for the area in which we're in. You may be looking at a $2,500 a month payment, maybe even $3,000, depending on the borrower and how much they're putting down. And because of that, there comes a lot of, you know, people who are just simply out of the market who may want the home but don't want to buy at that interest rate, don't want to buy knowing that housing prices may come down, and they don't want to buy knowing that interest rates may go down. So a lot of people believe that interest rates are going to go down. Along those lines, people also believe that the price of homes are going to continue to go down. We see that it's going down, but very, very slowly. Again, due to the emotional state of most buyers, they are not going to try and sell for a lower price. And so all of 2023, we will see a struggle there. But in 2024, I predict that there will be more buyers who are willing to sell at a more reasonable price. And here's why. Right now, you see people selling for $5,000, $10,000, maybe even $15,000 less on what their home was worth in 2022. That same price point is going to be applied to the next person who tries to sell within that market. When that person sells in that market, they're going to start at 10, 15K less than what 2022 market price was, because their neighbor sold for that same price and their home is about the same type of value, right? And so when you have the same type of value add of a home, you are not going to be able to sell it for more than your neighbor or the counterpart right across the street, because people are going to comp. They're going to compare the prices of the homes sold, and they are going to look at your home as something very similar, and they're not going to be willing to pay more because the bank is only going to approve the home to be worth what that other home had sold for within the last month or two. So now we're seeing delays in homes being sold off as well, which is also keeping prices high because there are no buyers in the market, right? So now people are comparing their homes to homes that was listed 6 months ago. I can't remember the last time in Columbus, Ohio, that we had to compare houses from 6 months ago. Every single time I compared a house, it was 15 days, 12 days, 1 month. I'm talking about houses were flying so fast, it didn't even make sense. And right now is the first time that I'm actually like really thinking about it. Like, I've never had a house be compared or shown with more than 2 months comparison data. And now we're having houses being compared to a house that sold 6 months ago, which is completely unbelievable. Rates were like 4% 6 months ago. This is not the same market, and no, your house is not worth what that house was worth 6 months ago. You're talking about cheap dollars in an inflated market with a stimulus package provided to yours truly, the government. So no, houses are now more expensive because the dollar costs more. Debt is no longer cheap. And then your housing prices is going to be impacted by that. The federal government is worried that because of people starting to lose their jobs, people starting to have less money in their savings, people starting to lower the prices of their homes, that they may just go into default. They may not be able to pay their mortgages, and we will see a flood of foreclosures in the near future. So foreclosures take a long time to happen because it takes you about 6 to 7 months of missing payments for the bank to foreclose on you. So let's say it takes 7 months for the bank to foreclose on you. At that point, you're essentially waiting until almost the end of the year in 2023. So we're looking at maybe July, August before we start to see a flood of foreclosures. And at that point, there's just going to be the first few who lost their jobs hitting the market. And then September, October, maybe in October, we'll see a huge bunch. By December, we're going to see maybe a record amount of foreclosures in December. And then going into January of 2024, I believe interest rates will be around 4%. And by February, tax season, I don't believe people are going to be looking to move. So I believe that January 2024, contrary to popular belief, is probably going to be the best time to buy. Here's why. I do believe housing prices will drop more in the later months, especially like, let's say December of 2024, especially in the winter of 2024, right? I do believe housing prices will drop a lot more. But when you're looking at homes that have good value, you'll be able to find decent homes. I'm talking about homes that look really, really good, really, really attractive, that won't be there later on. And yes, you will be able to find really, really attractive and really, really good looking homes in 2025, 2026. But if you have the opportunity to make money, you should definitely go for it. So I'm taking literally, I've just decided now, unless something really drastically changes, whether it be interest rates or housing prices start to crash, which I do not believe housing prices are going to crash in 1 year. And of course, we will not see the full effect of housing prices going down until probably 2025, 2026. But I want to take advantage of people simply not buying. And after a whole year of not buying, people are going to be so ready to negotiate with me. I can feel, I'm going to be able to feel their eagerness to sell their home, their eagerness to get somebody to purchase it from them. And if not, I'll be looking at foreclosures, saving as much as possible in order to buy a foreclosed property and make tons and tons and tons of money on that. So with that, if you want to be someone who does not have to compete with others when housing prices are rock bottom and everybody starts to buy it, I might have to pay a little bit more for the home, but I'm not competing with anyone. Right now, prices are completely ridiculous. There's no margin. There's no rent to be made. There's no money to be made. And so I'm just simply waiting for the money to be made, and then I'm going to tax them a little bit more. I'm going to add on a little bit more. I'm going to want a little bit more. I'm going to want them to provide a little bit more. Maybe that's covering my closing costs. Maybe that's paying for my interest rate to be reduced. There's going to be a lot of things that I ask for that need to be applied for me to take on this loan. And that may contribute to $5,000 to $6,000 being added to being given to me, essentially. For example, if I buy a home that has great foundation, everything looks good, everything looks great, and there's literally nothing I need in the house. Maybe I need a new stove. I'll ask them to purchase a stove out of pocket, and then I'll ask them for $5,000 to $6,000 in closing costs. So I will apply that 5 to 6 straight to the interest rate and lower that interest rate as much as possible, so that when interest rates go down further, I will not care, because, you know, the seller paid for my interest rate to already go down to the price, to the rate where others are at, and I'm already paying off the home while they are now looking to get into one. So that's where I'm at. I believe 2023 is a lost cause at this point. I think everybody should be saving as much as possible. But right now, debt is slowly creeping up and increasing across every state. And we're seeing people literally losing all of their savings. And so all of that pumped money by the federal government is literally being wiped away day by day, day by day. We're going to see less people staying at home, more people picking up odd jobs, trying to make ends meet. This is going to bolster certain job markets like the restaurant industry and bartending industry, and basically the service industry as a whole. People are going to get off their high horse and they're going to get back to work. But essentially, we're going to see a lot of foreclosures once again. We're going to see a lot of sellers hit the market eventually who either want to move or just simply can't afford their home. And we're going to see steep discounts coming very, very soon. It only takes a few people to offer a low price on their home before comparisons are made, and now the value of everybody's home is less. So it doesn't take everybody saying that this is the agreed upon amount. It just takes one or two people within the same area saying, you know what, I simply can't afford this home after 10 years of paying it. I'm willing to reduce the price by 30%, and boom, now that entire market is reduced by 30% within that area. So that's my take on it. What do you believe you should be doing in 2023? And when do you believe housing prices will be best and interest rates will be best? Or when do you believe that you should buy? I already know that 2024 January is probably not the best time to buy. You can probably still compete with other people in 2025 with lower prices and a better interest rate and get a better deal. But I'm medium aggressive, as I like to say, and I'm willing to go in when the heat hasn't settled all the way down, but when I know everything is good to go, the numbers work out, and everything looks nice, I'm willing to go in then. So tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.